Diverse doesn't mean chaos.
Life is very, very good at starting from nothing.
Between you and AI, who stimulate who?
I don't believe in singularities. AI knows the answers. Ask the questions.
Hello,
nice to meet you.
Professor Michael Levitt. My name is Zhang Yuan. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
You're a well-renowned professor with the industries across the physics, chemistry, biology, computational science, and also other interdisciplinary fields. And you've proposed there are three closely related intelligence, which is biology intelligence, human intelligence, and machine intelligence, which is now known as AI. So could you tell us that how do you define their interplay?
We know very well what human intelligence is because we experience it ourselves. A lot of people are surprised to hear biological intelligence, but biology makes really smart things. And biology seems to do this starting from very little, slowly building it up. So that's a form of intelligence. I think biological intelligence also made humans more intelligent because that was part of the scheme.
Right.
When I was doing my original work, the computer was probably much, much less powerful than the simplest watch computer.
Right, and much, much bigger.
And much bigger and much more expensive. I mean, in the world, there might have been 15 computers of that size when I was doing it. I was very lucky to have access to a powerful computer. But, you know, I think that is a form of machine intelligence. I think we tend to think of like modern AI, but AI has been around for a very long time. In terms of how the intelligences relate, clearly biological intelligence came first. It made all the life on Earth, and it made humans. Clearly machines were made by humans.
Right.
So I think these three intelligences are related in this way, but I think all the time they're connected. So for example, machines can help make new biology, or human beings can help make new biology, or human beings and machines can. So you can have all these combinations, and I think thinking about a triad of intelligences is broader. We could learn new materials, for example. People who are working on carbon nanofibers are now trying to think about new materials that are biological. Like, for example, if you have a piece of metal and it breaks, it doesn't close itself. But if you break your skin, it heals itself. We will have materials in the future that if they break, will fix themselves. We can certainly learn, I mean, machines can learn from humans. We can learn from, so it's the interplay of these different intelligences, which really are different. But I think the key thing is to learn from each other. On Earth, we have three intelligences: biological intelligence, human intelligence, and machine intelligence. Now, biology is the smartest of all. So basically, biology really started from very little, about 3 billion years, and slowly became more and more advanced until we have humans and higher mammals and so on. And it teaches us through evolution. And the secret of life is basically not survival of the fittest, but survival of the most diverse.
You said the greatest intelligence on the Earth is biology intelligence. Why is that?
A very interesting question. I think most things that are made from the outside. So if you make a cup, you take some clay, either by hand you shape it. Life isn't like that. So life is very, very good at starting from nothing. That's very difficult. But now we start to understand that process. We understand that in us there are many little machines. And these machines are tiny. If you think about a factory, normally the machines are big, making small things. If you think of chip design, there's a big, big machine that makes a small, small chip. Here, the small chip is making the big machine. And this is self-assembly, which means it can all happen without an outside agent. I think in future we could make materials like this. We could learn from it. It's really fascinating and very, very clever.
That's the most amazing part of life. And you once argued that a eukaryotic evolution prioritized diversity over fitness. So how does this concept inform our understanding of human intelligence?
It's an important concept because eukaryotes have a very wide range of things. The rest of life is basically bacterial, and it hasn't changed for a very long time, and they can't fly, they can't swim, they can't think, and so on. So one of the secrets in eukaryote evolution was to have a mother and a father cell. The child is half of the mother and half of the father, a random half always. It doesn't get the best genes from the mother and the best genes from the father. That sounds like a good idea, but actually it's a very bad idea because you want to have diversity. So I think that this is a very important principle. Now, I think one of the reasons that nature does this is because it doesn't know what the future is. Now, in the same way with our thinking, we don't know what the future is.
So it's not predictable.
It's not predictable, but it's unknown. But one of the best ways to deal with the future is to have diversities. Diversity, it also has interesting social implications because diversity means that under different circumstances, certain people might be more or less valuable. So, for example, most of us are very dependent on electricity. Our phones are but let's imagine you were somebody living in a small rural area doing everything by hand. So if there was suddenly no electricity in the world for 5 years, you would survive. Everyone else would be in big trouble. You could argue that probably the same thing is true of government, of any kind of thing. So it also means that sometimes what may seem like a very weak part of society is actually important to keep because it could be important at one point. So I think it's an interesting view which has many implications.
Diverse doesn't mean chaos.
No, I think diverse means an insurance policy against the future. It also stops bias. So I think we need to have this diversity. I think it's something, it's also a nice feeling because it means that everyone in society is important, not just the fortunate ones. So life is very, very good at starting from nothing.
Diverse doesn't mean chaos.
So I think we need to have this diversity.
Between you and AI, who stimulate who?
And it's individual. Your interface with the computer is different from mine.
So do you think that one day AI will have technological singularity?
I don't believe in singularity.
What kind of AI tools do you do?
AI is writing computer programs for me. It's reading contracts for me. It's comparing texts. It's checking my slides. It's suggesting new slides. We have many discussions about many things. It's with me when I go to museums. I can say, well, I'm really interested in calligraphy. Can you please look at this and say, and maybe it's not the same as having, if I had a professor of calligraphy from Fudan with me, it would be better. But here, take it out of my pocket and I do it. I think I've used it more than 10,000 times in 30 months.
Wow.
So
it's already part of your life.
It's part of my life.
Right. What role do you think machine intelligence plays in this trend of accelerating scientific research?
So right now I see AI as a super good assistant, and really interesting to talk about things. And I find that I'm solving problems that I would never have solved without AI. It's not that AI is necessarily some things it can solve easily. And even in the area of computers, I have been doing very difficult things on the computer with AI. I could not do it myself. But AI could not do it without me testing what he says. I'm actually working for AI. I'm the eyes and hands of AI. But really, the truth is that it's in the interaction that really great things happen. In other words, between me and AI, the new ideas are coming.
Between you and AI, who stimulate who?
Both. And I tell everyone, in order to use it well, you have to play with it. I think that everyone should spend as much time as they can asking AI to do things. Even, for example, if you were to go to AI and say, please write an interview for Michael Levitt, it would do it for you. And it would do it for you in a way that might not be what you want, but you would see it and say, no, no, actually, I don't really like what you've done. I'm going to do something different. It's like having somebody who will do things for you for nothing. And even if you have an assistant, if you ask, please do it again, at some point the assistant gets tired. AI never gets tired. So I think it's really worth learning how to use it.
Right.
So you can even learn from AI by asking for its advice and then doing the opposite.
The AI can evolve, can be evolving so rapidly, right? So what are the limitations?
One problem that AI has, when we do something, we try, and if it's wrong, we try something different. And we keep on getting feedback from the real world, whatever we do. So far, AI doesn't have that. It thinks it knows how to do something, and it's not always perfect. It makes lots of mistakes, but it gives you ideas. It's very encouraging. And as a scientist, mistakes don't worry me at all because, I work with young people. The good ones make mistakes. The bad ones don't make mistakes because if you do something difficult.
So you're not afraid to make mistakes?
You cannot be. I mean, if you're trying to do something new, you have to make mistakes. Making mistakes is important.
So you always enjoy the process of try and error?
Exactly. You have to enjoy the process.
We've noticed that the 2024 Nobel Prize in physics and chemistry were both awarded to the research related to AI. The change means the machine intelligence is already having a very profound impact on various fields of natural sciences. So what's your opinion on this?
I think, you could argue that any use of computers for science is a form of machine intelligence. They just had more powerful computers. So I think, the work that I was doing in the 1960s could not have been done without computers. So in some ways, it's a similar thing. I mean, the computer didn't get the prize. The scientists who got the computer to do something got the prize.
What are the more promising and sustainable industries or sectors in the field of computational biology and AI? And what are the specific successful cases?
So I think, obviously, an area of computational biology that is very important is human health. I mean, we want to learn the secret of life so we can improve human health. On the other hand, drug design is now being done more and more with computers and AI and things like that. Everyone is saying we need more young people, we need more babies. Not so easy to do. But having more people who are healthy and part of society is easier to do. So I think AI for health is very, very important. I think, the future of discoveries in computational biology are very hard to predict. I think we will understand more and more about how the brain works and things like this.
So do you think that one day AI will have technological singularity?
I don't believe in singularities. I think singularities, we don't know. There's a lot we don't know. And again, in the same way that a good scientist should be wrong a lot, he should say, I don't know a lot. The future is intrinsically unknown. Human beings are really good learning machines. And, we're much more efficient than computers. I'm sure the future will be very computerized. And it's individual. Your interface for the computer is different from mine. These singularities of machines being... Sometimes, in some things I do, there's no doubt that AI is more intelligent than me. Again, We were talking about diversity. Diversity basically means a combination. It's the coming together of a male cell and a female cell. That coming together that leads to the special act. That's true for people thinking. If you think this way and I think this way, we might disagree. But if we had to agree, we would find something new that was new to both of us and very interesting. And I think exactly the same way, it's the interface between the computer and the person.
So do you think that one day AI will have technological singularity?
I don't believe in singularities. I'm sure the future will be very computerized, and it's individual. Your interface with the computer is different from mine.
What the irreplaceability of human intelligence?
Human beings will set the value.
Can you give us an advice what to do?
AI knows the answers. Ask the questions.
So during this fast, rapidly evolving of technology, artificial intelligence, and biology intelligence, so what the irreplaceability of human intelligence?
So far, I think it's irreplaceable. So far I feel that human plus is always better than no human. We are strange. We do things in surprising ways. I think that humans don't think in this. Getting ideas can often be very surprising. A book that I really love is Liu Shin Santi, Three-Body Problem. And that's a great book because it shows that human intelligence is very innovative. I think that it's this ability to think under unexpected ways. Oftentimes, discoveries come in surprising ways. For example, the very simple idea of where does a new idea come from? People don't sit down in the morning and say, okay, new idea for today, and write it down. Usually they're maybe doing dishes or having a shower, and suddenly, it comes.
It's also randomly.
It's randomly. We don't know where it comes from, and some people have more new ideas than other people. So new ideas are strange things, and they're a very, very important part of intelligence. Human intelligence is really fascinating, and I think, something that one can go on forever about.
So in this paradigm-shifting era, people always say there needs to be value alignment. We say that the value of the technology, the value of the, commerce, business, right, always towards goodness. So do you think in this trend, the human beings will be the subjects who guides the technology towards goodness?
So I think it's a combination, but I think human beings will set the value. And my logic is as follows. I don't feel that I'm special. I'm lucky. Who I am, who I was born, is chance. I could have been born anyone. I could have not been born at all. My mission should be to try to make unlucky people feel better. So you need to think about what it's like always to be the other person. And I think we can find win-win situations between people.
Right, it's ecosystem spirit. So today, the current paradigm shift, the existing order is changing, is kind of disruptive, right? So what changes will take place?
I think we're going to have, automation of factories. That's problematic because it means that people will not have jobs. And we need to find ways. There was a poem written in 1967 by an American computer programmer poet called Radigan. And the poem is called All Watched Over by Machines of Loving Grace. So we are now in a period where we don't have to work. And the poem is basically like human beings and animals are all living peacefully together. Everything is provided to them by the machines. What are we doing? Now, I don't think he gives the solution to what we're doing. Are we writing plays? Are we doing exercises? Are we doing Tai Chi? Are we just talking to our friends? I'm not sure. But I think we will be able to learn from older societies. So Japan is an older society. I think right now there are 7% of the population is over 85. What are they doing? and they're learning things, they're interacting, they're doing flower arrangement. What's certainly true is that those people will be watched over by robots quite soon. And the machines will be very helpful. If you can't move and please bring me a cup of tea, this can already happen. Remember, it understands my voice perfectly, doesn't get mistaken. I think we'll have things like this. So the future is going to be, I think, very, very much with machines. I think we're going to have to discover how to make people feel part of society when we don't need them to make motor cars. I think the solution will come with AI's help. I mean, right now you can go to AI, you can go to any AI you like, ask DeepSeek, imagine a future where people don't have to work. What do you think we should do? No, I haven't tried this, but I think you would find very interesting answer. One of the nice things about AI is it knows questions that you would ask us instantaneously. So this, I think, is a very, very powerful way of brainstorming. And after a few times, you would become quite proficient at thinking about that. I think the key thing, one thing I actually said in one AI knows the answers, ask the questions.
You believe the future will be good?
I believe the future will be good because in the past, increased technology made things better. Well, living in Europe 300 years ago and being poor meant you lived until you were maybe 25 years old, you didn't have food. Most children died. I mean, in those days, most parents lived longer than their children. And as the technology has got better, the level of poverty has gone down. The number of children who are surviving to the age of 5 has gone up. The number of women who are educated is going up. Life expectancy is going up. So all of these things are going up as technology is getting better. So I think if we think about AI as technology, there's no reason why things will not get better for human beings. And I think correctly so. If we can get rid of poverty, get rid of hunger, get rid of disease, these are things which are clearly bad. Then we can start to think, and I think we're getting in that direction. We need to get rid of irrational thinking. That will happen slowly. So I think, things are good. And I think human beings better learn. I think, besides being curious, learn to try to understand when something might be right or wrong, just by common sense. Think carefully. And, people need to learn this.
Maybe people don't know about the future. So can you give us an advice what to do, what to keep in mind is the most important to embrace the future?
I think, firstly, being open-minded. A lot of people say AI is terrible. And then you ask, well, have you played with AI? Not really. I know it's terrible. People need to understand that we don't know about things until we work with them. Or they might say, I don't like Apple computers, I like Windows. Have you tried it? No. Okay, this is very important to be open, to try things. And I think to be a little bit adventurous. As I was saying before, curiosity is very important. Being wrong is very important. Understanding the value of other people's opinions.
So dare to say, I don't know, and don't fear about failure, making mistakes, right? And always be optimistic, and always look the positive side of things.
And be childish.
Be childish. Okay, that's very well said. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Why do you choose to, come to China to do the research and to do this kind of collaborations?
My wife loves being in China. China is a very big country, but also a country that's changing very quickly. And in China, there's a very strong appreciation for science and scientists who have been successful and so on. Lots of young people. I find there's an energy in China that I enjoy.